or the potential Graves that got first picked. I mean, actually, they took Graves for Unicorns, and Misfits seemed okay with that.
But I would go Graves again here, because otherwise you can't really first pick LeBlanc, because it has been proven to be counterable.
I mean, unless you want to take it a second time. And Exileh is like, now I know the damage.
I will not die level 1.
This little could deal, yeah, so I won't be afraid of it. Misfits saying, you know what, we're just going to get rid of LeBlanc and not deal with any sort of counter picks on their side. So Graves, the most likely first pick here.
Has been what Unicorns have opted for, but we've seen Xerxe on several different picks, and maybe this is where Unicorns start to mix things up.
Yeah, they're not going to first pick either. Okay, Rengar is the other one. I actually think Xerxe has done a great job on Graves in this series here, and because the games have gone very late, Graves does have a lot of value, but they do take away KaKAO's Rengar. Maybe... Definitely not taking it out of respect, I feel like.
He was progressively getting better. Like, he was learning that, hey, Rengar, this stealthy champion, can get really strong lane ganks off.
If you pressure ulti air, you can actually go top lane. Let's see if Xerxe can do the same now. I think the blind pick Rumble is probably what we won't see in the first phase here from Unicorns. Now that we saw Alphari with first the Fizz, and then the Cannon.
And I like this. They're leaving a lot more to counter picks, saying, you know what, we like this Ashe, it worked for us. They don't want to pick top lane here because they want to counter pick Rumble with Cannon, for example.
So you can just take your jungler. If you want to play Graves, you can lock it in here, keep the Graves Ashe, and then have that potential mid lane pick for PowerOfEvil next time, or maybe a support and ban out all supports.
People are saying, well, maybe why didn't you pick support here? Because then the Graves just gets banned out in the next ban phase. Because if Unicorns now go strong top laner that requires a counter, you can't pick both Graves and that counter in the same rotation. So this helps you.
And for a lot of teams, it's important that you lock in your mid laner now. If you're Unicorns Bluff, if there's very high priority mid laners left, like Orianna. So if they don't show mid laner here, then the Vladimir will just get banned in the next phase by Misfits. So now Misfits can still go Orianna here.
But they have to choose. Where do we get squeezed?
Well, I'd like to see Orianna from them, because they had such a good time in the second game with it against
they lose the
Vladimir.
That's the problem for them. I think it's better to go for the Cannon here.
Cannon, and then see the Orianna get banned away, and then you need to have another pick ready if you are PowerOfEvil, and he must have something there. Ahri could be one. Oh, okay.
This is actually a really good matchup.
This is a counter pick to Vlad.
Ooh. This is a really good matchup for Kayle.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Special. Yeah. We're into the game now. PowerOfEvil taking a leaf out of his book.
This started with Caps playing it against Vladimir specifically because the laning phase is easy enough for Kayle to get through it and get towards these two items.
Yeah, definitely so. This does mean that the Cannon is most likely going to be banned out alongside maybe another strong anti-Rumble matchup.
Could be Fizz Cannon being removed from the Unicorns of Love. You can still play like Kled against Rumble.
That's a really good pick into Rumble.
Definitely late game. Early game you do get pushed in, but that is the thing about Rumble. He pushes in most of these laners early on.
But Kled Graves can actually stick to Rumble quite well, for example.
Definitely an option. But they're actually not...
They're not afraid.
Getting rid of, at least so far, the Cannon. Karma instead... feels like some of the supports have not actually been that impactful in this. Like the Lantern were really good for Hylissang. It is the shields.
You don't see them, but
the million shields.
They're there.
Yeah. Especially helpful when you have another mid laner who can do the same thing. Caitlyn's now banned out, so Misfits continue to pinch that ADC pool.
Misfits, they only need one shield. One shield to rule them all. The one that makes you invulnerable on the Kayle.
All right, Cannon is still available for Misfits as a potential pick. They can show support here if they want to save last pick for Alphari to be 100% sure. But they already know it's Rumble up in the top lane, so they can actually safely pick the top laner.
Yeah, but they may not want to play double zero tank comp. You know, if you go Cannon, I think they're waiting to just... They want a strong support anyways that pushes like the Zyra. They also don't want to lose it. And they say, you know what? We're going to see how deep Unicorns go into this teamfight style, and maybe we just need a tank. Maybe just something, some juicy tank to soak some space, because like Kayle is good if you have frontline, but if Kayle becomes the frontline, she wastes her shield so easily.
Kayle is still good as a split pusher as well.
Yes.
Like she's fantastic in a side end, so if you want to run this pure split push, you can definitely do it. I want to see if Thresh gets to be the lock in here. Ooh, Tahm Kench.
Okay.
This is actually very interesting. It's obviously against the Ashe Arrow, very specifically, but it's not extremely impactful against like a Kayle, who is not, with the current build, very based around insane burst, but more very consistent DPS.
And the Unicorns find a lot of success in fights where they at least have some hard CC to start it. Right now, it's all conditional.
Yeah. But if you are Unicorns of Love, the Tahm Kench with the map pressure they had earlier in the series, they used it to go to the side lanes very often in the first game, but they shouldn't expect to win the top lane split push, because it's a counter pick for Alphari So this Tahm Kench might be more defensive, like I'm gonna go help Vizicsacsi in the side.
They're at risk of getting pushed in 3 lanes depending on the last pick, because Kayle will have pressure over Vladimir, I feel.
Gragas will have pressure as well later on. It's very difficult for Rumble to actually kill him, and he can push the wave so effectively and actually trade.
Jungle start will be really important, because if KaKAO can play in between his pushing mid and bot lane, he can eliminate most of the jungle from Xerxe and give him a big hit there, rather.
Because this bot lane from Unicorns Aloft will suffer.
Yeah. I mean, they should, but on paper,
fair.
They've been surviving weak matchups really well, but this is almost taking it to the extreme.
Yeah, I think this is almost too weak of a matchup that they shouldn't be able to survive easily.
I think we're going to see a lane swap.
Level 1 lane swap.
We've already seen a few of those.
Yeah.
Will it be the case again?
The Jhin lane swap, he's notoriously bad at hitting turrets.
So, Unicorns of Love with their draft here, it's the same with this really, really strong, explosive team fight, especially towards the late game where Vladimir becomes a powerhouse. But on the other side with Unicorns, or with Misfits, sorry, the Kayle counterpick to get that free laning phase where you can scale up. And then you can use Kayle in a side lane as well. She has a lot of flexibility in that way. A lot of scaling on both sides, actually.
Yes, indeed. We could be in for another late game. We have seen quite a lot of 40-minute team fights in this series so far, but here in game number 4, Unicorns are still 1 win away from punching their finals ticket in Hamburg. Misfits hanging on, trying to come back in. And PowerOfEvil has clearly been watching Caps for a little while here, pulling out this Kayle counterpick. We'll see if it reigns supreme. Can Misfits do it? Can they bring it back around? That is the question. Unicorns, they want to close this one out. They do not want to give a chance for the reverse sweep to become a reality once more. Misfits staying alive. Can they do it once more?
I think they can.
Okay. Krepo thinks they can.
We're about to find out. Let's go on the rift already. Come on.
We are about to find out. Well, the last few games, the first 5 minutes, slow and steady.
Yeah.
Except for that double kill for PowerOfEvil, but apart from that, we've been able to kind of talk a lot for the first few minutes about matchups and the comps, and then it's just exploding, like all over the place. We just see fights left and right, ton of action. So this game here, as we talked about, bot lane should be heavily in favor of Misfits. Mid lane, PowerOfEvil looking to just power farm on the Kayle, and then top lane with the tank up for Alphari here. Will get pushed in again by the Rumble, which is very tricky for the Gragas. But he's looking for potential ganks with this Graves here. Gragas ulti against the Rumble is effective.
Yeah, I want to see if Xerxe or KaKAO rather goes for red to red in terms of invade. Maybe Raptors red into red. Or Raptors red into bottom Scuttle Crab into enemy red is something you could definitely do.
Well, on the side of Unicorns of Love, we talked about the very, very strong team fight composition they do have. They don't have a lot of answers in the side lanes. Pure 1v1s. So it's going to be a lot about getting towards that mid lane again, as we've seen so often. 5 members together.
Yeah, Power is running Fervor right now instead of the Storm Raiders.
Okay.
So it's been 50-50 so far for Kayle mids.
Yeah, Caps the first time he played Kayle ran Fervor. Then apparently he was yelled at by one of the one-trick Kayles in high elo solo queue in Europe. Changed it over to Storm Raiders instead, adding that extra utility with him. But Fervor is back on the menu. Is still great for overall DPS with the pure attack speed builds. We do see like the Nashor's Rage Blade.
Well, no chance for KaKAO to try and steal any buffs away on this bottom side as Xerxe has beaten him to the punch and KaKAO just takes his own red.
Yeah, really important that you start on your weaker side where you get pushed in. We definitely have to track Samux CS progression here. IgNar and Hansama didn't overpush as hard. It's when they hit level 2 here on once these melees end up dropping. 2 more melees and then they can walk up, but they're stacking a pretty heavy wave. Samux has already lost pretty much a potion equivalent of health.
It's going to be hard for these guys. Talked about how Misfits have the big pushing lane and working well for them. So far, Misfits, they've had their fair share of troubles, even when they have winning lanes, but this time around, it's not that big a deal for them.
We see the same thing from Hansama early on, all the games. Same that Sven did yesterday with their Dorn's Blade start.
Yeah.
So confident in his laning that he doesn't need the 3 potion from the long sword.
Hey, I'd be confident at this point. If you're playing Zyra Ashe...
I mean, you've been having winning matchups every game, so you should be confident in the laning phase here, if you are Misfits.
And it's because you're so likely that to get a small CS lead that's big enough to the longsword that you don't get outrushed on the Blade of the Ruined King. It's not that it's going to happen in the Jhin matchup anyways.
Very true. Yeah. Oh,
Bork Jhin.
Hello.
Yeah, I mean, after all the changes, we get an Ashe Jhin matchup again. Oh boy.
This is a much weaker Jhin though. It's actually a pick we don't see that often after so many nerfs happened to him. Also, lethality kind of fell out of favor as well. And it's hurt him quite a lot. His ulti's not as impactful. Some AD carries still consider him a bit of a snowball pick, where if you are getting ahead, using that ulti can be so good with your team to kind of keep forcing these engages and snowball the game. But I'm not a big fan of Jhin, personally. Obviously, Samux can prove me wrong in this game, 100%.
It's been a big comfort pick for him. I mean, by far his most played champion. Obviously, everybody's been playing a lot of Jhin, but he kind of took it to a whole nother level before the nerfs really started to hit. And
yeah, because it worked really well with the setup Unicorns, are using, where it is, team fight is based around Exileh Vizicsacsi, and then Samux in a more supportive role. He would sit far back, pop the ulti to start the fight, and then the team would kind of follow.
Unicorns trying to fight their way out. If you are stuck on a turret, fighting your way out on the cannon wave is what you want to do. That's why Hylissang stepped into the rush for the Q into W combo. Basically, his Q into Samux's W, but IgNar sidestepped the Jhin snare, so there was no follow-up, and which means Hansama could return the damage, and now it's just a fight. And you see Devour is not used defensively in this lane. It's used to break the push. They just want to get the reset on the wave and base here because they're so afraid of running out of sustain. That's why they're moving into damage. They probably know the jungler's not here, and they just want to reset the lane.
I really like that trade from Samux down in early game here on the Jhin. And we might just see him go back to what he used to do, as you said, Pyra, where he's the man sitting with the ulti in the back, using that to slow down one or two targets that allows Exileh to then reach those targets when a fight breaks out. You have the Rumble ulti. So there's a lot of things on the Unicorn side you can combine to add slows, which sets up Exileh to then get into the backline of the enemy team. There's a high chance that is the goal with the Jhin here.
Yeah, KaKAO has literally been sitting in that brush right now for over 20 seconds. Goes into challenge the control ward. He saw...
he wins the fight. Nice one-on-one.
Control ward's not known for fighting back, but this bottom of the map is very, very important.
Just wait, one day soon. They will be tired of being placed in the Baron pit and cleared out over and over.
You know what does fight back right now, Krepo, is that Infernal Drake, and that is a big one. We've been spoiled for Dragons this game. It might be a few minutes before we start to see that contest, but hey, Misfits, they're looking for a dive on bottom. Samux is all alone.
Yeah, it's a
that would be an
play.
early dive.
It's just a pressure play, counter gank play maybe.
Yet.
I think he just wants them to push out, and he's there to make sure they can do it. And then he backs away.
If this was the old days, the 51 CS mark versus 37 would mean you base on a good BF or a BF boots timing, the enemy's stuck on a pickaxe, and you have a massive lane lead. The problem right now with all these budget builds, where you just slap a lot of long swords together, you can't really get that definitive lane lead anymore. So it's no longer about CS timings, as it's more about pushing in the wave and just basing at any given point. If you can get a push reset, you will always win out. Because now, for example, you see Samux and Hylissang pushing back. Hansama's doing the fake base.
Yeah, fake based.
And that gives IgNar sidestone timing, maybe, if he has it, yes, to then move in. And Hansama's not getting threatened. He can just push out now safely himself. And this gives you a map lead for the Misfits.
Does mean, obviously, that Samux and Hylissang will return to the lane before Hansama, because he's going to recall after he just killed his last minion here.
He should push this out. He should hawkshot push it out, in my opinion.
Well, he's going to play it extremely safe. Double longsword and swiftness boots for Samux here. So not fully investing into damage.
Yeah, but you see, while the Unicorns both run back to bot lane, IgNar is just going to play some vision around this mid lane. Help his mid laner a little bit. And the wave is somewhat neutral. It's a soft push towards the Unicorns on the bottom lane, but it's really not much.
He's finding Exileh.
It's going to have to pull away. That's nice and easy. Power still able to chase him down for a little bit more.
If you force Vladimir to W early, you can really just get winning poke. And now it's on cooldown for like 12 more seconds, which means Power has the control. Raptors get double warded. Even if one of the wards gets swept, it's really good control here. As long as IgNar doesn't die on the way back.
Yeah, well, Hylissang might be the one who's in a little bit more trouble. Not that much damage. We're still pre-ultimate levels right now. It's only 7.5 minutes in.
So a lot of control on the bottom side for Misfits, but some of those wards placed in the jungle of Unicorns will get disabled. There's a control ward just around the corner, or at least they're going to let him just run out. Xerxe knows everything is warded. Yeah. He knows he's not going to find an easy path down to bot lane. Even though actually, if you could see what we're seeing,
there's the obvious path, the easiest path.
The one you normally don't take because it's going to be warded is actually open through the tri-brush. But now with this level 6 coming for Jhin, let's see if Unicorns want to make a play on this bottom side. They have Rumble teleport. They have level 6 Rengar, and this is where Jhin ulti is still very strong.
Might be the chance for them to try and make the plays. We've seen the pattern in a lot of these games, slow on the start, but once the action begins, it doesn't stop. Xerxe might be the one to pull the trigger.
I think it's a good call actually from them, at least to try and force a flash.
Call. They got one. Slowing IgNar. He's gonna have to force that flash out of Hansam, or that heal and the flash.
Oh! That was so good by Hylissang. Hansama did not get the block. That is really cocky to go for that play, and it works.
It worked though. We've seen some really cool mechanical outplays in these semifinals here. Yesterday as well, G2 Fnatic, Hylissang with the big play. And that shows some of the
for that play.
Yeah, but like that shows some of the synergy with this Jhin as well they do have in this bottom lane. And as Pyra said, you know, it's been the champion. Samux has played the most, all split long. I mean, clearly Hansama is just not expecting, or IgNar is not expecting it.
Because this guy, like, he used Devour, which is usually you're so happy when Hylissang does this, because if he walks up, he can actually devour IgNar and just kill him. And then he goes for the angle. How do you know that your Jhin has the angle? Hansama should be able to step in there.
Well, you can also then turn around and say IgNar can flash it, but he's clearly just not expecting the flash and then for it to hit.
Yeah.
I think Hylissang was trying to finish him off. I do not believe he saw that there was like a 0.2 Teemo's angle on that Jhin W. That is just ludicrous. Regardless, it was an insane play, but
yeah,
that would put him on like, Mata Modlife level.
I mean, that was pretty sick though, and importantly, Samux got that one in the end, so he gets the gold influx. I mean, this Jhin lane, all of a sudden, not looking too bad because the comfort level's there.
I just watched it again on the visual screen, and it's disgusting.
It's actually cool how it's Hyli flashing first, and then the W comes after for Samux. So he's actually reacting instantly to the play from Hyli.
Well, if there's one thing you learn from playing with Hylissang is that you at all times should be ready for the unexpected.
Yeah, when he says go, if you say back, he doesn't listen. It's go. You know, it's forward.
It's like, nice, your mic's muted, bro.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear you lagging, I think. Stage problems, the crowd was too loud.
Well, that is definitely the case a lot of the times when unicorns are on the stage.
It's actually funny because some of the players, you know, so often talk about like support they get from the crowd. You know, unicorns will love with obviously their fan group here. How much it actually means to them to get all that support after every game you've been playing. Because they've been here every single game in the entire split.
Like, we get days off, but these guys,
that's dedication.
There's no days off if you're part of the Love Hurts crew.
Unicorns have been showing that love does hurt, but Misfits, they have definitely not lacked for damage in this entire series. And the bottom lane looks really good for Misfits to start things off, but look at that. They even right back up on CS.
Hylissang and Samux have just been able to honestly, like, almost going to say outplay the laning phase here against Hansama and IgNar in these lanes. Like, Samux is Jhin.
Wait, Hylissang.
There we go. IgNar, Hansama, nowhere to go right now. They're zoned off. Let's see. One shot connects, the other doesn't. There is a big Zyra ulti, but Xerxe is coming right out of it, turning for Hansama. Chachi, PowerOfEvil. This is getting real messy as KaKAO exhaust on him. Falling forward is Exileh, and it looks like Misfits are coming down with a bad case of emo plague.
Yeah, it's not over yet, guys.
Hylissang said go, so everybody went. Samux now took the long journey around. 2 for 1 so far.
Barrel knocks Exileh right into the wall, but the flourish is going to connect on Power. He didn't get the stun up. So, Unicorns managed to get 1 or 2 rather, and trade one back with Hylissang.
You can set up for Infernal, rotate mid potentially, but then they lose bots, so...
Just get this big wave in the mid lane to the tower so it dies, and then you deny that CS as well. That's what Exileh is doing right now.
Maybe force a teleport for PowerOfEvil. That could be big here. The cooldown.
Same thing we talked about earlier, though, how you can force plays around this Jhin lane with ulti, and that's exactly what they're doing.
So well played. From control ward into enemy brush.
And you already have Exileh here.
It's so hard to read.
Exileh's already there.
They saw Exileh roam probably the Misfits, but they're like, what is this clown gonna do? You know, show up as Vladimir and die. Oh, there's Tahm Kench.
Tahm Kench coming in. Good engage. Exileh flashing in, of course, getting that kill, and another one on Hansama. So much pressure near this bottom lane. Really well set up by the Unicorns of Love, and going back to comfort, despite it being a nerfed pick, means that the old playstyle around the bottom lane right now works.
Working out well for them. Unicorns get themselves the gold lead. Now Chachi looking to bait in Hans and IgNar as they're joined by KaKAO on this top side. I don't know how much he can do here.
His ulti's still on cooldown. If he had ulti now, this could have been a brilliant play. Sadly, no ulti.
He even moved rushes. He's like, because he knows they're going to base there.
No, he's still there. He's still waiting.
Yeah, no, but he knows they're going to base in the first brush. That's why he moved to the second. Nobody ever bases in the second
Or he was afraid they would face take him that early and his team wouldn't be there to help.
Yeah.
So now, if they actually would face take him in the second one, he would have bought a little bit more time.
Still doesn't have that ult up. Hylissang finding IgNar. Oh, they find him right back. Uh-oh. He's going to flash into the team. He wants to make the play. In comes Exileh and Xerxe. KaKAO gets an ult out of PowerOfEvil, but that's going out of time.
Say what you want about Hylissang. This man has no fear. He's going in again.
Once again, Exileh was the one on the front line as well. He stays alive. Equalizer.
Who flashes forward there? It's like, I will buy the time. Guys, we need about 4 seconds. I will do the job.
Well, there's backline Tahm Kenches and there's frontline Tahm Kenches, and Hylissang definitely belongs to the frontline one.
Yeah.
He's the playmaking Tahm Kench right now.
He's still there right now, and that's Xerxe going to tag in. Alphari. Oh, IgNar around the side, though. Zyra ulti is going to be enough. Alphari knocks him down.
It is, to be fair, though, the most classic Unicorns of Love thing. Oh, we're not done.
Xerxe wants to keep on making the plays. That damage from Rengar trying to get to the blast cone, but he's popped again. The barrel comes down on his head.
Hylissang as a player, Unicorns of Love as a team. Makes him like, never mind, they're going to kill him.
You're not going to get any chance
to kill him anyway.
They take down PowerOfEvil.
Fighting.
I've given up on trying to give points in between skirmishes. I'm going to wait for everybody to be in base.
Sometimes you think the skirmish is done, and then you realize that they can get more. See if we can get some damage on this tower.
There's always more to get.
But the point I was trying to make there is Hylissang as a player and Unicorns as a team.
Yes.
This is something we see very often from them, Deficio.
They make so many good things, and then they do have to make that one little move where they overextend. Especially our good friend Hylissang.
Look at last game. They were getting Elder Dragon 5v4, and Hylissang's in a brush. He's like, ah, surprise! It is I who am here. And then he died in the game through Game of Thrones.
Probably the worst gank ever from a Thresh in the 50-minute mark or something. All right.
1v3. My name is Hylissang, and my pocket
nice juke. Very nice juke. Flashes in without any stacks, but
before
he's flashing in for the pressure. Ulti early, KaKAO will die.
Like, you're not mocking him. It's actually insane how much pressure he makes on this Tahm Kench.
You have to run away from him this early on. If he starts getting multiple stacks on you as an AD carry and you get devoured, you're 100% dead.
This is something Caps was talking about earlier on the desk, how he thinks Exileh bluffs in a lot of the matchups. Where if some guy runs at you, the first reaction in competitive play is he must know what he's doing, he must have backup. Hylissang tends to bluff a little bit as well, where he will walk up and is like, you know what, fight me, there's a 95% chance my team's here. Well, or maybe there's an 80% chance my team's here, and the other 20, you don't have the guts to take that fight.
And Unicorn, sometimes bluffing works out well for them, and brought out another equalizer after picking up the dragon, looking for more. Exileh stunned up or rooted up.
And that's going to be their late game teamfight combo. It's going to be the equalizer into diving Vladimir plus Xerxe diving in, and then from the back, Samux will snipe him down.
And that's actually going to be so effective against Kayle and Ashe. Like, none of them have gap closes. So both of them have to also stand still to really deal a lot of their damage.
And the Misfits, they also went from 1,000,000 shields to 1. They only have that Kayle shield right now. So the AoE is super efficient against their comp.
It's lock-it time.
Let's lock it. On Zyra, I think you just go AP.
Nah, you go Redemption at least.
Yeah, Redemption into lock it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The full damage support Zyra.
It's gone.
It's not really a thing. Unless you're trying to carry the game 1v9.
I don't think we're at that point yet. IgNar still had his fair share of clutch ultimates, though.
Now, we talked about, this split pushing Kayle here and how the matchup against Vladimir, it's not because Kayle ulti is great against Vladimir ulti specifically, because it's an AoE and Kayle ulti is only good on one target. It's more the laning phase gets, like towards the first item, which is the Nash's Tooth here, and then you can go to side lane with teleport, and you can start just farming, and split pushing. It is still very slow, and that's kind of the problem of it, because Unicorns of Love and their composition, like their late game as well, is extremely strong. So Vladimir scaling is fantastic. We just saw the Rumble plus Jhin combination, what they can do against Ashe Kayle in a backline. Unicorns of Love are not going to have a point in this game where they're going to be extremely weak.
No, it's true, and in all honesty, it's looking great for the Unicorns to start things off as Exileh looking to add to his kill counter right now. Goodbye, Hansama, and hello, Xerxe, tagging his way in for KaKAO. Alphari trying to make his escape, and Unicorns aren't letting up this pressure.
Unicorns will dive you in your base, even when tier 1 is up.
It's so fun to play AD carry sometimes. When that happens, like, what's your counterplay?
My bad, guys. I should have hugged my Nexus tower.
I should not have left the base. I am sorry.
Here they go. Round 2. IgNar a little bit low. Alphari, though, is the target of
choice. They're on his dead cops.
They are on top of everything, looking at those tier 2s as they finish off the tier 1. However, Chachi does get shut down.
The Misfits are completely falling apart. Unicorns of Love are showing the same gameplay pattern over and over. We see you, we kill you, we will dive you, but they're just not able to deal with it. PowerOfEvil with the late Kayle ulti as well. Like, this is a guy who can prevent death with his ultimate, and it comes out after 2 of his teammates have already fallen.
Oh, Unicorns of Love showing great comfort with this composition. Long range snipes from 2 members, the dive from Exileh. Welcome to being an AD carry sometimes. There really is no counterplay for you.
Yep.
Heal, flash, it was all used.
And he walks away.
Hylissang brings in Samux, and then just look at the damage IgNar's going to take and how far he's actually removed from the fight.
Throw down the equalizer. I mean, they just have so many weapons here.
Flashes out, he does everything right. Like, this guy did nothing wrong. He hides behind KaKAO, turns out Flame Splitter goes through. Double kill for Vizicsacsi, and here's the ulti.
It's just so well played by Unicorns of Love. How they know exactly when they can go aggressive here. Exileh diving in alone at first. Being like, yeah, it's just a Zyra. Like, she can't protect the Ashe at all, so I'm going to get this kill. Really, really well played by Unicorns of Love. And 2.5k gold ahead now. Got the Infernal Drake as well. Bot lane fight, though.
Have recognized the threat here. Chachi, 1v3. No way he's going to get one out of this. They respect it, but Alphari in the end finishes him off. That was a lot of damage he was dealing.
Cross-mapping top lane from the Unicorns of Love. We'll get the tower, so they're going to trade turrets, but a kill in favor of Misfits, because they were the ones going aggressive first.
But his kill is not allowed to ramp up. Yes, it beats Vladimir. No, it does not beat a 4-0 Vladimir. That was a bit of the problem. His Kayle needed the snowball to
It's too slow.
Like the side lanes too.
We've seen it 3 games now. 1 game, it got early kills. That was Fnatic's game with Caps getting it. He got like 2 items in no time and just solo won the game. The 2 other times we've seen this Kayle here, it's not been getting quick enough towards her items, and her team is just losing around her.
IgNar. I don't know how he stayed alive that long, to be honest, but Exileh just gets himself a 5th, then he gets out, courtesy of Hylissang.
This Tahm Kench, it's paying off. It did not get hit hard enough in laning phase. Samux and Hylissang honestly making a good case for MVP, just breaking these weak matchups open, allowing Unicorns to draft strong around their top side consistently, taking the hit in the bottom lane, and then still surviving the bot lane.
I mean, I think it's always that debate between picking these melee supports who shine outside of laning phase. A lot of duo lanes don't want to do it because they don't want to lose laning phase and lose the first tower. But if you know now after 4 games that you're not going to lose this lane, obviously they can continue doing it. Let's see the fight again. Exileh is just doing whatever he wants. The fight, I mean, let's see this brutal gank.
Yeah, IgNar. Exile, vegetarian, Vladimir takes the plant down.
Boo.
I gotta get one freak in there.
I'm actually sad the crowd didn't join me there.
Allowed
Booing you.
Actually, I've never been booed. No, I have, actually.
Can we boo Krepo, everyone? No? No one wants to boo Krepo?
I guess you have to try again next time, Deficio.
We can get him to laugh instead.
Yeah, there we go.
Clearly the crowd likes you, Krepo.
So, let's get back into this one. There's another Infernal Drake coming back up. I'm trying to save Deficio here. Stop laughing, Krepo.
Hey, I'm not doing anything.
Hold on a second. Invulnerable for just a second. Exileh, though, is still on the chase. Hemoplague, but now he's being turned back around. He just can't close the
damage.
That's disgusting.
Exileh still gets the kill. They get everything. KaKAO's going down. Unicorns want this big time.
And this must make Sheepy and Romain and everybody who's backstage so happy, because Unicorns, they make it out of playoffs, but they do it in a different fashion as usual. Usually, they creep their way into playoffs. Now, they're in the first place in Group B. They come in as the highest seed and they have a very convincing performance here against the Misfits.
And the Exileh that died in lane a few times in the last few games. None of that happened in this one, and now he's 7-0 on this Vladimir.
Like, they're on the verge of heading into Hamburg to play the finals against G2. And not even that much as an underdog.
No, I mean, this is huge right now. We don't normally see the Unicorns coming in so hot, but they were definitely prepared for this series, and it is looking great right now. Exileh!
He's winning the battle of Faker. Who's the German Faker? Turns out Exileh is their Faker.
It's their Faker, yeah. Good, good.
And that was after he had some rough games against PowerOfEvil.
It doesn't matter. Results.
All good.
PowerOfEvil also went Wit's End in this game here to get the MR clearly, but it's going to really hurt his damage compared to getting Rage Blade. So he's delayed even more in terms of him becoming this late game carry. And to me, I feel like the Vladimir will just be almost as good in the late game fight. Will probably be even better in the team fight because
especially
of the AoE
if you
damage.
Look who he has to dive. Kayle, Ashe, and Zyra. He can get all 3 at once.
And he has always the Rumble ulti to assist him.
Baron buff, 2 Infernals, huge siege on the way for Unicorns. I mean, in what world can Misfits come back from this?
Well, the first game did happen, but I really feel like that was like just that first game on stage where you had to just kind of get used to it if you're the Unicorns of Love, and they've corrected so many mistakes and they're going in.
Yeah, they want to try to end this one as early as possible right now. In goes Chachi right into the back line. Exileh coming up legendary. And everything's looking peachy for the Unicorns as they're trying to drive through into the base. Misfits are melting.
It's only 23 minutes and a half into game, and Inhib is falling, and they may just go for the final push. What a dominating performance here from the Unicorns.
Back-to-back huge long games that went real late. Lots of scaling on all sides, but it has not lacked for action. One Nexus turret's gonna fall. Unicorns are gonna find themselves another IgNar and Alphari trying to hold the line here.
They got Ansama alive. He's on his way to try and defend, but the Nexus turret, it's right open.
That's all they got to do. They just need a few more autos, but they are going to back off. Those death timers are not long.
Yeah, they obviously know how much it matters to them. They could have potentially ended, but they know if they base on an 11,000 gold lead.
And they also know that they've tried in the past to rush down this Nexus, and then it backfired. They played it very safely. There were still 8 seconds on PowerOfEvil and 3 seconds on KaKAO when they stepped away.
Oh.
You can't really fault them, though.
LCS, yes. Scrims for sure. For a ticket to the finals in Hamburg, you know what?
Safe. Play it
One more
safe.
base.
So, fight again. I mean, it's just the same combo. Backline.
Yeah, but Samux again, he just nails these deadly flourishes constantly, and then Vizicsacsi can go in, or the Vladimir. There's so much just backline dive, AoE threats that force PowerOfEvil and Hansama to constantly like sidestep and walk out of the fight.
Again, it's what we said, you know, Unicorns going back to some comfort for them. And it's been working so well. You see how good they are at executing this composition here. Sheepy always talks about, you know, comboing multiple things together. So snare from Jhin plus a Rumble ulti is something they've been practicing also. But then another fight here, but Exileh, he's getting out.
Yeah, Limbo's underneath those skill shots. The Sanguine pool, and right now it's a 1-4. Nexus turret's open. They're playing it by the book. Apparently, the Unicorns concede to macro only when...
I think they've done that a few times.
No, conventional macro.
Yeah,
Sorry, so they definitely do use macro, but they see it through the convention closing ability here in the late game. Exileh going in.
They might just be able to dive it all in. It started on Exileh, though he's got no more pool left, but he does have some backup. They may get the shutdown, but will it be enough? Misfits low on the health bars. The curtain call is calling, and that's gonna be a few more taken out. Alphari.
Of course, it's Hylissang back there.
That's the only ones left.
Hylissang's back there, and Nexus alone.
That's the double kill. That's it. It was a big series, but Unicorns will not be denied, and they are heading to the finals. 2 years in the making.
I mean, just so well deserved. Unicorns of Love, their single playoff since they joined the LCS. They made the final in the very first split. They were here, and now they're back after showing the best split.
No one can take this away from the Unicorns. They completely deserve this spot.
Really nice. Good job, guys. Really, really proud.
Victory words with the team.
One more series against G2. Let's do our best.
And G2 will have to fear their horns.
1, 2, 3, US!
This is going to be one hell of a final in Hamburg.
It's going to be such a fun final to watch, because Unicorns of Love will make sure there's going to be some fast pace.
Yeah, Sheepy
League of Legends
in his hometown. He'll crank up the spice for that one.
Oh, I think so.
The funny thing is, you know, we call Unicorns of Love one of the best team fighting teams in Europe, but G2 is right up there.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be such a fun game to watch with some very gifted players.
They're definitely top 2. Like whether you rank G2 first
top 2,
or Unicorns of Love, top 2 in terms of just raw, sheer team fighting ability. Both these teams belong there.
Team fighting reigns supreme. Seems to be the case in this spring split so far, and you know we have got an
Why
epic
is he wearing a
matchup on our
shirt?
hands. I'm surprised that Remain chose that attire today, but that's
I think he's gonna save that for Hamburg.
Possibly. So, all in all, for Unicorns of Love, like 2-0, they get ahead. They lose that third game to a good draft from Misfits.
But they're about to win it too.
Sure. Yeah. They actually were coming back in that game. Then they take down this one here, 26 minutes. Didn't care about the kill counter pick at all. The lanes that were supposed to lose in the bot lane were actually going even. Really well played by Samux and the guys, and Exileh, of course. I just think also if you're Misfits, like, sucks that you're losing this one, but today you weren't the better team.
No.
And you can still be so happy and proud of your very first split in the LCS. You're still going to play for third place.
Yeah, and next week you can be the better team. still a similar matchup where they would go up against like the Unicorns Light in Fnatic for that 3rd place match.
Well, they've clearly been trained for that one, yeah. And it is rough for Misfits, but the goal for that team was to make the semifinals. Mission accomplished.
Yes.
And they want to play towards, the goal is to play towards Worlds in summer. And they will still get arena stage practice in Hamburg for that goal.
And you're going to get championship points if you win the match. Obviously, you get more if you win the 3rd place game. You will get something no matter what. Yeah. But now you want to get as many as possible. And then you want to use that, obviously, coming into the summer split, where we are expecting a team like Misfits to make playoffs again. Like, Misfits Unicorns of Love could very much happen once again in 3-4 months from now.
Yeah, might end up being a classic here in the European LCS. I mean,
it could be.
They're 4 games, and it was impressive. And it's a long line of challenger teams finding success in Europe, but Misfits once again doing it.
We've started to get some very consistent organizations in here, like especially the Unicorns of Love, H2K showing it as well. But that kind of progression they've shown after having to find so many different players.
Yep.
Every split roster changes for the Unicorns. Often the jungle, they had to find a new one.
They finally found a good one.
They found a very good one.
Speaking of, by the way, he's our player of the series, Xerxe, and he earned it big time.
I mean, he's the rookie of the split for a reason. I think every game he played actually today was really, really good.
He does not look like a rookie. That is the biggest part.
He's so smart and consistent.
No stage fear whatsoever. Willing to go for deep plays. Doesn't tilt when something backfires. Consistent game performances here as well. 1 death in... I love how we... in all his games, game 1, 2, and game 4, he only died once.
Yeah, he only died once. Whenever they won the game, this man only died once.
That's what you call cherry-picking analysis, right? Yeah, we don't show the loss. It's okay. But, I mean, it's just been such an impressive run from him overall, and we can't really stop gushing about this guy. And part of it comes from his experience in the TCL. Part of it is also just, all the impressive things.
I think we can stop gushing about him.
Okay, fine. It's enough from us. Unicorns of Love. They take the series after a dominant performance in game number 4. For more, let's hear from their mid laner.